Hey guys, this is Tauna, and today I'm going to show you the dumbest Eldrazi, the most hilarious Eldrazi, and we are going on a space trip. Is it a spaceship? It's going to be legal as of Edge of Eternities, but realistically, we are looking at a... This is you taking the Titans, and you're going to go on a road trip with them. I am very excited about this deck. Before we do get into it, make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you share the video around, all that kind of stuff. I don't do all that many deck techs, but if you want to see more of them, let me know. Let me know what deck techs you want to see as well. But this deck tech is going to be built around Regalia. The Regalia, a new legendary artifact vehicle. Now, as of Edge of Eternities, legendary vehicles and legendary spaceships are able to be your commander. So therefore, we are able to run the car as our commander. I'm going to have to try and not crack up too much during this video because I just found it really funny. So the Regalia is a 4-cost 4/4 that is going to have haste, and when it attacks, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. You're going to put that onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom in a random order. It also has Crew 1. So this deck here is an Eldrazi-based deck. It is all built around Eldrazi, but we're using the Regalia as our commander here to purely ramp us up. It's also going to be less consistent than if we were to use, like, you know, one of the big Eldrazi Titans or something like that. It's also going to be hilarious when you sit down at the table, you're playing the Regalia, and then you start whipping out big Eldrazi. So this deck is going to be built around mostly ramping up to get into big Eldrazi's. I have all three of the different Titans in here, one version of them, and somehow I managed to fit that within a budget of $100 US, which is great. You know, you can use your Eldrazi, you can put them in the car, you can swing them. The great thing is it also has Crew 1, which means that any, like, the, you know, Scions or Spawns, whichever one it is that are 1/1s, are able to drive the Regalia. So you can crew this with your little 1/1s and send the Regalia alongside, you know, Emrakul or something along those lines. So having a look, let's go through like one step at a time. Our artifacts here are mostly built around just kind of ramping up. We also have Transmogrifying Wand to make sure we have a removal here. Quicksilver Amulet to be able to cheat big things in, because this has only got to cost 4 to tap to put something onto the battlefield, instead of, you know, some of them are going to be quite expensive. Forsaken Monument to ramp us as well. Horizon Stone is again to ramp us. Our aim here is to just ramp out and have so much mana available that we can then go ahead and cast some of these big Eldrazi. So, you know, the first kind of couple turns, you got like Crashing Drawbridge to give our Eldrazi haste there. The Mimic here, we can get that out, and then we can follow it up with some big things to make its power and toughness into those big things. It that Heralds the End is a great kind of, you know, cost reductor for our big expensive things, as well as the fact that it lets us buff up all our colorless creatures. The Regalia is a creature when it's crewed. We get to then swing a 5/5 Regalia at people. We've got some ramp stuff in here with, like, you know, Burnished Heart. Now, we do need to cast a lot of these Eldrazi, so we don't want to cheat out too many of them. Some of them we are able to, you know, and then we can use the Quicksilver Amulet too, and if we don't care too much about their, you know, cast things, then we can do that. However, a bunch of the Eldrazi were cast, especially around Modern Horizons 3, so we are wanting to kind of actually cast them. Obtruse Archaic is really fun here. Obviously not an Eldrazi, however, it does let us copy target activated or triggered ability you control from a colorless source. It is also from a colorless source, keep in mind, which is great. Yeah, just big Eldrazi. Ultima is another huge ramp thing. Geo Golem in case our commander does get removed. The good thing is, as well, is that the Regalia, on our turn, it's going to be an artifact, right? On our turn, it's going to be a creature. But then on other people's turns, it's not going to be a creature. So it's less likely that people will remove our commander, which means we can continuously ramp up into our waste. And then, of course, we need the Walker of the Waste here to kind of, you know, walk alongside our car. As I said, you know, we do have each of the big Eldrazi in here. One of each of the big Titans, except for 2 of Kozilek, because Kozilek has some pretty cheap versions. Kozilek the Great Distortion, which lets us, you know, discard something to then counterspell and potentially, you know, draw some huge cards as well. And then the other one, Broken Reality, just gives all our colorless creatures +3/+2. But then we've got an Ulamog and an Emrakul as well, because the best thing about this is having all 3 of them crew the car with all 3 of them, which is way overkill. But the the vision of Emrakul getting in the car, kind of, driving, because Emrakul's got all the big tentacles, the best to driver. And then we got Ulamog sitting in the side, probably holding the map with his 4 little hands. And Kozilek in the back just being the cheer squad is just hilarious. But the great thing is, like, while I have obviously built this deck pretty memey, right? Like, it's pretty memey. It's not going to be. It's still going to be relatively strong, right? Like, our commander's going to be able to ramp us up so much. If you had a commander that whenever you attack, you get to get a land out, people would easily be running that, right? What's the difference between that and now we've got a vehicle that's doing it? Echoes of Eternity is absolutely huge here. Ugin's Mastery as well is going to be great. We get to manifest stuff. We get to cast colorless stuff. Whenever we cast colorless creatures, we get to manifest. And then whenever you attack with creatures with power 6 or greater, we get to flip something, which is good. Our instants are great, like, some removal, some protection. That's pretty great. Like, counter spells. Like, you think in a colorless deck, you would be kind of missing out on some stuff, but this looks like it's got enough to be able to do things with. The lands are kind of a mixture, mostly just kind of, we've got the waste here, but the idea of the Regalia driving along and founding a tower or a power plant or a mine, and then just being like, yep, that's here, let's go. It's just so good. We've got Ugin the Ineffable to make our commander cost less, as well as all our other creatures cost less. Gets to exile the top card of our library face down, and then create some colorless spirits that can also crew our vehicle. And then into our sorcerers here, mostly kind of removal, but some great board wipes with, like, All Is Dust, or the Calamity of Titans is a good board wipe. Selective Obliteration's a good board wipe. We've got some good board wipes that's going to essentially be kind of one-sided because of the fact that our deck is built around purely color stuff. As soon as I saw that, they were legalizing legendary artifacts, I had to build one around the Regalia. I kind of wish it had an alternate art. Maybe I'll get an alt art done up of just the 3 Titans driving the Regalia, because that sounds hilarious. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys as to what you think. Are you going to build any of, like, the new legendary vehicles as your commander and stuff? Are you interested in this deck? I'll put the link to it down below so you can check it out. But I'd love to hear from you guys. I hope you guys had a wonderful day, and goodbye.